Hey everyone, and welcome back. My name is Colton Howard. I am a senior technical specialist here at IBM covering our Maximo suite of applications. So let's jump into today. So today I'm going to be covering really three key things. The first is an overview of reliability centered strategies. And the second thing that we'll do today is how it applies to a lot of the challenges our clients have been talking about over the past 10 years. And then lastly, I'm going to give a demonstration on not only reliability centered strategies, but the AI components that we leverage through generative AI to help support our clients in developing out and implementing these strategies. So it's a very exciting topic that I'm really excited to share with you all today. So jumping right into it, let's do an overview of what reliability strategies is. This is the first time in Maximo's history that we actually purchase content for the application. What that means is we purchased a company a while back that had a library of over 800 equipment types, 5,000 preventative maintenance tasks, and along with 58,000 failure modes documented to help those who are implementing reliability strategies being able to do it in a significantly smaller amount of time, over 90% reduction in the amount of time to implement these level of strategies. Whereas before, it took typically around 3 weeks, of which you're taking five or more of your top seasoned engineers off the line in order to develop out these strategies, whether that's PM optimization or tracking and developing out, okay, what are the different failure modes for a particular piece of equipment? What type of effects does this have on our overall operations? And on top of that, what are some of the mitigation activities we need to implement, like conditional monitoring or inspections, or what type of preventive maintenance or job plans we need to put in place to ensure that the maintenance that we're doing maps back to a particular failure to optimize uptime. These are the level of conversations and challenges our clients are having is the significant amount of time it takes in order to do this. So we wanted to help solve that problem. So we purchased this library and we've integrated it with the core capabilities of Maximo so you can implement these strategies at a click of the button, whether that's copying the preventative maintenance that are listed in the actual strategies, copying the job plans, and having it automatically populate in Maximo. So that is what we've done with this so far, and I'm really excited to showcase that to you all today. So now that we've covered at a high level what the capabilities are of this strategy, library within Maximo, let's talk about how this fits into the overall picture of what we've been developing out with Maximo over the past 10 years since Maximo 7.6 was released. So with that, let's walk you through this end-to-end life cycle that we've created for Maximo. So when you look at a reliability-driven life cycle management process, it starts with at the very beginning of this this cycle, defining your master data within the capabilities you guys know and love about Maximo, which is core Maximo, which we call manage. So this is including deepening your asset hierarchical structure, implementing classifications, recording all asset related data, whether it's your work order history, the age of the equipment, the amount of materials you use for your work orders, having all that data, master data in one single place. So once we've done that and we've set up all of that data within Maximo is where then we get to go to step two, which is when we start defining your maintenance strategies for the assets that you're maintaining. This includes doing failure mode and effects analysis. How do these failure modes affect our overall business? What's the implication? What's the risk? Then we look at, okay, well, what do we need to implement from a job plan perspective, preventive maintenance to ensure uptime? What are the different conditional monitoring techniques, vibration analysis? What type of modern machine learning like regression or anomaly-based detection can we implement to help ensure uptime? Predictive monitoring, spare parts. So these are the level of strategies that using these two components down below within Maximo will help you to do so at 90% less of the time. One thing, and these are the two things we're going to be demonstrating today, is reliability strategies as well as the Gen AI capabilities. Now, reliability strategies we've already discussed, but within the Gen AI component, say that you want to create a new strategy from scratch. You can leverage Gen AI in order to create those strategies, whether that's saying, okay, I have this equipment type. What are some of the mitigation activities and failure modes for this particular piece of equipment? Well, Gen AI can produce that for you and implement it into the tool. So that's where we are. And along with that, if you guys currently have strategies in place already, use the strategies library to enhance those preventive maintenance and job plans you already currently have. So not only can you leverage the library, you can have custom strategies, you can have an extension of the strategies you have in place. There's a lot of different ways clients use this today. That brings us to the third step in this overall process, which is how do we actually execute these strategies? So that's where we start leveraging these components within Maximo in order to do so. So how do we do, for example, how do we implement preventive maintenance and job plans and inspections? Well, you can do that through core Maximo. How do we apply the real-time data, whether that's coming from PLCs, SCADA historians, sensors, that like accelerometers that we've put on these devices? Well, you can use Maximo Monitor in order to bring in all that real-time data and begin to analyze it. Then we can start leveraging modern predictive analytics in order to further enhance those mitigation activities that we've defined from our reliability strategies. So this is where Maximo Predict comes in. Then we get to our AI assistant, whether that's on your mobile device, being able to, in a FaceTime like manner, use augmented reality in a FaceTime with a more seasoned technician when you're having challenges doing a repair out in the field. So that's one of the capabilities. We're also enhancing it with Gen AI to help assist in the actual repairs. So all of that information, again, coming back to step one, that master data that you're including, such as OEM manuals, can then be read and the actual tables within Maximo, such as your work order history tables, your asset records, can all be read and understood by generative AI to help assist in those repairs. And then lastly, Maximo Visual Inspection, which is an AI that looks at pictures and videos of what you're taking, whether that's in your facilities or even on the production line, analyzing product quality as the products are being produced to identify defects. And if there is, it has the capability to send a message to an operator or maybe one of your execution systems to stop the line in the case that there's a quality defect in real time. So these are the execution activities that you would implement in order to support and drive the strategies that you produced in step two. So now let's go to step four, which is you're then monitoring all of these activities that are happening in real time. You have a single source of truth where you can open up Maximo to visualize not only your IoT trends, real-time data trends, but you're also monitoring, for example, your work order history. You have all the data you need around the health of an asset, risk, criticality, remaining useful life, all the analytics capabilities you're doing, leveraging monitor and predict capabilities, all in a single pane of glass, which you can just open up, whether it's on your phone or your desktop, to understand holistically how this asset is performing. And just as importantly, this can help in root cause analysis, being having that single stop shop to opening up your assets, understanding all the data that's available for you instead of having to go to different silos or different systems. You have it all implemented right there for you, in which you can identify bad actors and conduct root cause analysis. And speaking of root cause analysis, that gets to our last component here, which is that constant improvement within this entire life cycle, which is as you are implementing and as you are, continuing down this maintenance approach, you're going to identify new failures. You're going to identify incidents in which you need to conduct investigations and root cause analysis to further enhance these strategies and implement more master data and enhance those strategies that you currently have in place. So that's where core manage and our health, safety, environmental components come into Maximo, is that you can do all of those, you can track all those incidents, you can conduct all those investigations and root cause analyses straight within HSC. And that comes all the way back around for that continuous improvement process. So that's what I wanted to talk about at a high level today in this overview. So let's buckle up and jump right into the demonstration. And again, we're going to be covering what's highlighted in green within step two. For step three, where we and actually step four and five, I have other videos of these components, so feel free to go ahead and look at some of the other videos on the channel if you want to explore what we covered on these last three steps. So let's jump in. All right, so team, now we have Maxima open. As always, all you need to do once you have Maxima open is just type in the search reliability strategies. And this is the 9.0 version that we're going to be showcasing today. So here it's going to take a second in order to load this reliability strategies library. Now, the first thing that I'm going to want to do when opening this up is identify an asset class that I want to begin creating a strategy for. So, as I was talking about before, there are over 800 different asset types available within the library. Let's just go ahead and search for one that we're particularly interested in creating a, a strategy for today. So here we'll just go ahead and say that this piece of equipment and asset type is a conveyor belt, and that we want to create a strategy around one that has an AC motor drive. All we need to do within a couple of clicks of the button is say create strategy. Now, one thing that's really important here, and I hear a lot of clients talk about too, is we're creating these strategies, but within what you already have in the library, can we leverage these as our own? Like, can we pull the data that it currently has, like, for example, for asset configuration, the different classifications that we have for different pieces of or different assets that we are currently wanting to track? And the answer is yes. And that is something that we're going to be moving over into our asset record so that you can have these level of classifications. Because as you can imagine, different classifications of equipment, let's say for a, a pump, for example, a centrifugal pump, if it's horizontal or vertical, they may have different types of preventative maintenance or job plans associated with those. So in that sense, you're going to want to have these level classifications defined, which a lot of Maximo clients don't have today. So having that already as part of a strategy is a significant amount of value that this can bring as well. So once we've collected Get strategy, what we're going to see here is an overview of what's all available for this piece of equipment. We have over 71 different failure modes tracked, as well as 14 mitigation activities that can be used in order to satisfy these 71 different failures. So let's go ahead and start with the different failure modes that we have. And here over on the right-hand side is also important to mention out the boundary for this strategy. So this is a belt driven by a AC three-phase, 600 volt class electric motor, and down below it shows all of those sub-assemblies that are included as part of this boundary. And it also includes, just as importantly, what it excludes. So with that, let's go ahead and look at the different failure modes. What this defines is those sub-assemblies that, let's go ahead and find one down here. Let's see. Oh, let's do the motor bearing. So if we click on one of these, it's also going to show, okay, what are the different failure mechanisms? Let's go ahead and find one that has more. Is it wear? Is it leakage that can cause this failure to occur? And down below, we can see, okay, what is those influencers that would impact this failure mechanism? So what are some of the different causes that we have that would relate to this piece of equipment? Now, one of the questions I get asked as well, and I'm just clicking to show you guys a little bit of what's all included in here, is oftentimes I'll get asked, okay, so how does this map to the problem cause remedy that we have within Maximo? Well, that directly relates to what we're doing here as well. So these influencers, you can think of these as some of the causes of these additional failures. So this is something that you can implement within the problem cause remedy. Now, when we open up the asset record later on, you're going to find a new field that wasn't there before, and that's reliability strategies. So we have a very simple and easy way for us to map these strategies to different assets and equipment types that you already have within Maximo. I'm going to show you how to do that a little bit later on, but let's go ahead and continue to walk you through what's all available within this library. So here we've clicked on, okay, we want to look at the motor and bells and bearing housings that are a failure mode for this piece of equipment. We've identified that wear can be one of the different mechanisms, and one of the key influencers is degraded bearing lubrication and a failed bearing. So when we click into this, this is going to show you quite a bit of different information here. It's going to show you a little bit, it's going to show you the repair time in hours, discovery opportunities, stressors, and if we scroll down, we're going to see not only the different mitigation activities we can put in place, but also their effectiveness. Now, this is huge because some of the activities that we may have may not have a strong correlation to improving or mitigating the chances of failure. So here we have our mitigation strategy that we want to get more insight on. And this is where we get into that last tab. We've covered the overview, the failure modes. We're now into the mitigation activities, where we're getting we're getting out of the box different preventive maintenance details, frequencies, labor hours, and AR just means as required. And if you need to understand what the different contexts are, all you need to do in Maximo is, as always, just click on the word and it'll give you exactly the definition. But it gives you the job plan of preventive maintenance that you can easily copy and automatically implement into preventive maintenance within Maximo. Same thing with job plans. Now, one thing to highlight over here on the left-hand side is that there's going to be different operating contexts for different machinery, those that are critical to your operations, those that are constantly running, as well as, okay, what type of environment are they in? Are they one that there's heavy humidity or temperature within this area? Is it mild where it's in an environment that's typically stable? So these are the different decisions that you can include in the operating context. That's as you're going to see down below as I click into these, the frequencies are going to change. So, for example, how often you want to do vibration analysis, how often do you want to do, for example, belt inspections? That's going to change as I'm clicking different criticality duty cycles. Now, oftentimes I find that if it is a critical equipment, you're probably often more times than not, running this pretty often. So these two typically go together, but this is one way that you can have that level of control over these changes in frequencies. So as I click this, it's going to give me, maybe a 6-month inspection. But if it's not very critical and it's not constantly running, maybe that's a 2-year frequency that we're doing this. But team, this is where we can look at the different activities that we are and maybe not implementing today to make those decisions. Okay, is this something we need to implement in order to reduce the likelihood of failure for this equipment? And as we scroll down below, we can see for this activity, these are all the different failure modes that if we implemented this, it would have a very high effectiveness on reducing downtime. And this is the frequency we need to do it. And up above, there's your preventive maintenance and job plans in order to do so. This is a significant value point for where we're taking Maximo as a solution in order to help you guys reduce up to 90, if not more, 90% of the time it takes to actually implement these level of strategies. So this is step one. Let's go ahead and jump into the demonstration where we show you how to create custom strategies using generative AI. All right, team. Now that we've covered what's all available in the strategy library, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how we've set up creating custom strategies. So the first thing that we'll need to do is click in to the tab that says custom strategies. And let's say for this example, we want to create a strategy and leverage AI to assist us in doing so for an HVAC system. Let's say this is for a commercial HVAC. What you're going to see down below is implementing information such as asset configuration, your classifications, the asset type, the different team members that you may want to have. But here, we're just going to give it a brief description. And one of the things we're going to want to do next is to define a boundary for this strategy, what's included, what's excluded. So what we're going to do here is instead of taking the time to define this ourselves, we've actually trained generative AI on both the reliability strategies as well as all the data within our Maximo database. This includes our records and key documents that we have within it. So what we're seeing here is we asked AI, generate us a recommendation for what's included. Give us an equipment overview, what components we should be including, excluding from the strategy. And within just a click of the button, we now have that. So next, we want to go ahead and define our failure modes. Again, you can do this manually, or in this case, there's one other option you have, which is to use artificial intelligence. You've trained AI on all the data you've been collecting thus far, and you want to leverage all that insight into generating these new failure modes. So here, we're just going to ask AI, what's your recommendation for the different subassemblies and failure modes we want to track within Maximo? And give it a second, and it'll give us a recommendation. There we go. The next thing we want to define is which components we want to track. So let's say it's the indoor, outdoor. Let's also include compressor and the filter for this. So now that we've listed out the different failure modes we want to track, we're also going to want to define, okay, what are the different failure mechanisms? What are the different failure influences associated with these failure modes that we want to include mitigation activities for? Whether that's preventive maintenance, conditional monitoring. So here, same thing as with the failure modes. Let's just ask AI. So here are the different failure mechanisms that AI is recommended for us. Let's go ahead and click add. And let's also include some influencers that we have for some of these different mechanisms. So let's do one for our refrigerant lines. Perfect. And again, just with a click of a button, we have that. Now, again, typically the manual process around this takes several weeks. What we've done here is leveraging your data and reliability strategies along with the data that you guys could potentially want to include as far as custom failure modes in order to create this, not in weeks, but hours, leveraging this tool. Now, a lot of clients ask me, okay, how do we actually associate this with asset records in Maximo? Well, there's a tab for that. And you can very quickly, just like you saw there, just click on the assets that you want to incorporate these strategies for, and bam, right on the asset record that we just opened up, you have connection to those overall strategies. It's a new field we're adding to the asset records. It's an extension of the business objects you all are used to know and love within Maximo, but there you go. It's right there. You have that connection and you're ready to rock and roll with these strategies. So team, this was just a very quick sneak peek of what we've been creating with Maximo reliability strategies and generative AI. I think this is going to be a game changer for a significant portion of our clients. And we already have clients leveraging reliability strategies today. So please, if you have any comments or feedback, leave it in the chat. I am just so excited to see everyone begin to use this and implement reliability strategies to help ensure uptime across and ensure that all the actions you're taking, all the mitigation activities, all the maintenance that you're doing maps back to failures. So thank you all again for your time. I look forward to future videos.